Media allows us to live our lives while exploring others secondhand. It allows us to imagine living in a perfect world with a perfect family, perfect friends, perfect house, and a perfect job. Dreaming is what we do, and media makes that possible. Unfortunately, when exposed to media, we then realize that our life is not perfect and it never will be. We long for luxuries that only the wealthiest can afford. Some of us then give up. Depression is brought upon those who believe their life isn't as great as it should be. Suicide in the US has surged to the highest levels in 30 years, which increases in every age group except older adults. The only reasonable explanation for the high suicide rates for the younger generations is the excessive use of media. Media encourages depression to form. The amount of depressed and suicidal individuals in America will continue to increase due to the ideal life being portrayed through all sources of media. Displaying certain body types through magazines is very influential on the public. People read magazines to find out what is in style this season, whether it be food, cars, or clothing. This creates unrealistic expectations of how one should look and act for those who already may be vulnerable. In fact, girls are being taught very young that thin and sexy is the way they want to be when they grow up, so they better start working on that now. Having this mindset can teach any woman that their appearance is more important than their health and can cause her to start to control her weight in an unhealthy fashion. When coming to the realization that this perfect body is unreachable, suicidal thoughts start to form. Women start to feel unappreciated as if their body isn't good enough, so they decide to end their lives. In fact, Social Work Today states the suicide mortality rate of people with anorexia is one of the highest of all psychiatric illnesses. Specifically, America has a large influence on women's ideal body image. An experiment in Fiji proved the prevalence of eating disorders increased dramatically after the introduction of American television programs, which typically show excessively thin female lead characters. As a larger amount of magazines or advertisements show women how they should look, the more suicidal these women become due to the majority of them believing they aren't good enough. Excessive use of social media, such as Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, leads to different psychological illnesses. Many teenagers spend a lot of time observing their peers' photos, videos, and statuses through social media. Easy access to personal profiles allows people to be self-conscious about their own lives in respect to their peers. Using these sources of social media makes teens more prone to anxiety, depression, and other psychological disorders, due to one feeling as if they aren't living as full of a life as they should be. In addition to not feeling unique, social media also causes its users to become more antisocial. Certain programs promote online messaging over face-to-face conversations because it's more convenient, but this causes people to become antisocial in the real world. Hiding behind a computer or phone makes keeping a conversation with someone easier. There are no facial expressions, pauses, or stutters that have to be taken into consideration. But once one leaves the computer to have a real conversation, it becomes scary when there's no screen to hide behind. Being antisocial and depressed directly leads to self-harm, followed by suicide. Studies show those who are isolated from peers or whose social relationships are troubled are at a greater risk for suicidal thoughts than those who have close relationships with other adolescents. Observing others' lives or not being able to talk to those you love causes these psychological illnesses, which proves that social media does have a large impact on suicide. Television also has a large impact on the amount of depressed individuals in our society. Observing others' lives through TV shows and movies allows people to dream of a life far different from their own. They can imagine how different their life would be if they had acted the same way as their favorite character from a TV series. This is extremely unhealthy. It causes people to feel as if their own lives are too boring and unimportant. Sociologists from Maryland University discovered that those who watched 3 or more hours of TV per day were 13% more likely to be diagnosed with depression at some point, whereas those who exercised regularly and did not view TV excessively reduced their risk of depression by 20%. Instead of using television as a way to relax, it is actually aggravating those who are depressed and causing more individuals to become depressed. Not only does a source of media cause people to feel unsuccessful, but it also decreases the amount of socializing between individuals. As humans, we are very social beings and require conversations with others to make ourselves happy. The study from Maryland University proves that those who were the happiest watched TV for only 2 hours per day or less and spent a significant amount of time socializing with friends and family. It is clear that television has a large impact on its viewers' happiness due to it causing people to envision a perfect life and teaching people how to be antisocial. Sources of media, specifically magazines, social media, and television, have a direct connection to depression and suicide. These sources of media cause people to feel unfulfilled and vulnerable. They teach their users to loathe impossibly perfect lives. Without media, we would be able to spend more time with family, friends, or neighbors learning about lives that truly exist and are actually reachable. Citizens would improve their mental health significantly if media usage would decline. Thank you.